This is a bottle of expensive Bordeaux, Chateau Pontet Canet. It is sought after. It is beloved. People pay $200 to $300 a bottle for this Bordeaux from Pauillac. Yet there are credible rumors that there are aromas and flavors of horse manure in this fine Bordeaux. If that's true, why would anyone pay $200, $300 a bottle for this wine? My name is John Honest. I'm a certified sommelier, and in this video, not only am I going to tell you the unusual story of Chateau Pontet Canet in Pauillac, Bordeaux, we are going to open the Chateau Pontet Canet, we are going to taste the Chateau Pontet Canet, and I am going to drink the entire bottle of Chateau Pontet Canet 2014 to see if there were actually any truth to the rumors. Are there aromas and flavors of horse manure in such a fine bottle of Bordeaux? And who would start such a rumor in the first place? Let us start with the story of Chateau Pontet Canet, because it starts as all good wine stories should start, with a wine scandal. You see, Chateau Pontet Canet in Pauillac has only been owned by 3 families, which is very unusual in Bordeaux. The original owner was Jean-Francois de Pontet, who was governor of the Medoc, and all the way up until 1865, he owned the property and got it up to, it was actually classified as a 5th growth Bordeaux in the classification of 1855. In 1865, he sold it to the Cruse family, and they owned the chateau all the way up until 1975. See, the Cruse family were a family of negociants, highly respected in Bordeaux, buying, selling, trading different grapes, and they actually owned 2 chateaus, Chateau Pontet Canet and Chateau d'Isson, which I believe is a 3rd growth Bordeaux. In 1973, something unique happened in Bordeaux. Prices exploded. 5 years prior, you could get a bottle, I believe, of the 1953 Chateau Latour, a fine first growth Bordeaux, for $12. In 1973, you had to pay $125 for the same bottle, a 10-fold increase. So the people who own chateaus in Bordeaux got to thinking, wow, we can make a lot of money here finally. But how to do it? You see, there was a problem. And the problem was this. There are very strict regulations by AOC in Bordeaux on yields. It means how much wine that you can produce. And so if you can only produce so much, but the market demands more, what is there to do? Well, the Cruse family, Leslie, the owner, and Yvonne, the sales director, his cousin, came up with an idea. We're going to hire a wine doctor. When I say a wine doctor, I don't mean a doctor to come out, a medical doctor to come out and look at the health of the wine. I mean a doctor of wine. And so what they did was they went and found a convicted wine fraudster, Pierre Bert, who said, sure, I'd be happy to doctor up some wine bottles. We'll just take a little cheap red wine from Languedoc, which was called Midi at the time. We'll add a little bit of white wine to it, and I'll put a few chemicals in there so that it will taste like Bordeaux. Then I'll sell you the bottle so it doesn't seem like anything fishy's going on, and you slap a couple of labels on there, send it out for export, and nobody will be the wiser. Well, what happened was an employee of Chateau Pontet Canet kind of got wind of this and says, no, this is not good for Bordeaux. We cannot have this. So they contacted the French authorities. The French authorities showed up, and like any good guilty party in a scandal, Leslie Cruse threw them out. But they came back. And they came back in force. And so what they eventually discovered was between 200,000 to 400,000 bottles had been doctored, put on the market, and they even found mutilated paperwork to show that the Cruse family had been in an active cover-up of this wine scandal. Their defense? Well, we didn't really know that Pierre Bert, the wine doctor that we hired, was actually doctoring the wines, even though he was a convicted wine fraudster. We just didn't do a good enough job tasting it. Yeah, okay. What eventually wound up happening was they went to trial. The Cruse family was convicted, but they were given suspended sentences of a year in jail as long as they paid $12 million. People got to get paid. Pierre Bert was sent to jail for a year. He was unrepentant, and he claimed that he did no wrong because his concoctions actually did taste like Bordeaux. Okay, Hire a wine fraudster, you get wine fraudster results. But the upshot of that was the Cruse family lost control of Chateau Pontet Canet. They had to sell it in order to raise the money to pay the fine. And what happened, Bordeaux was an absolute freefall because of that scandal. It was called Winegate, and it really put a stain on the mark of Bordeaux. The good thing that happened was that the French authorities really tightened up regulations, and so the quality of Bordeaux began to increase again. In 1975, Guy Tesseron, really a cognac merchant, although he owned a property in Saint-Estèphe, acquired Chateau Pontet Canet, and Alfred Tesseron took over in 1994. And here's where the story begins to get interesting. Here's where the horse manure begins to come into effect. Alfred Tesseron is a big non-interventionist, organic, sustainable, and biodynamic guy. And he gradually began making improvements at Chateau Pontet Canet, which up until 1994 really had produced some nondescript wine, despite the fact that it has a fantastic geographic location. It's really located kind of in a dip right between two first grows in Pauillac, Mouton Rothschild and Chateau Lafite Rothschild. So the terroir there is absolutely stunning, yet they were only producing wines at a 5th growth level. Alfred Tesseron thought he could do better. And so right around 2004, what Alfred Tesseron decided to do was he took just the Merlot part of the vineyard and decided to do biodynamic farming. Now, what is biodynamic farming? It is a little controversial. Let me give you the quick recap of it, because if you wanted to say it in one word, it's astrology applied to farming. In 1924, an Austrian philosophy professor and noted crank, Rudolf Steiner, told farmers that if they planted by the cycles of the moon, the cosmic cycles, Mercury in retrograde, Jupiter in whatever it is, that their crops would spring to life and they would have bountiful harvests. Now, although he was a crank enough to put astrology into it, he was actually a pretty smart guy too, because what he told them was, he said, listen, just let it be natural. Let the animals do their thing. Don't use machinery to compact it. Don't use synthetic pesticides. Use natural pesticides. Use natural fertilizer. And one of the crazy things that he said, and here's where we really start to get into the whole manure thing, because there's a lot of truth to this, is this is both good and it's also crank stuff. Take a cow's horn, fill it to manure, just at the perfect cycle of the moon, go bury it on the property. Okay, however, we do know that manure is a great organic fertilizer. My grandpa, who was a rancher in Bandera, Texas, he was a rancher and a farmer. He grew oats and he raised cows. He didn't put manure all over his oats because that would have been a little too expensive. But his beloved strawberry patch in his garden, he would go out and collect fresh cow manure. I would help him, it stank. Put it all over his beloved strawberries and they would grow like you just wouldn't imagine. And so if we back out the goofy astrological stuff of the biodynamics and we look at the scientific stuff of what it says, there actually is a lot of truth to it. And of course, the number one thing is, what's the wine in the glass like? So Alfred Tesseron's philosophy is as non-interventionist as possible so that it can express the full terroir, not just of the property, but of each vintage. And so what he does is, he doesn't aerate the soil with tractors. He has horses that run wild all over the place, clomping around, turning up the soil and aerating it in a way tractors can't. Tractors also compact the soil. Horses don't compact the soil. Horses go where tractors can't. But hey, what if you can't get enough horses? Let's have cows run around. Let's have donkeys run around too, because you know what they do? They naturally fertilize the place. Yep, that means they poop all over the place. So there may not be just notes of horse manure in this wine. There could be donkey manure, cow manure, and it gets even better because part of the biodynamic preparation is taking dilute cow manure and spraying it all over the vines. So, as a perfect expression of terroir, is there going to be cow manure, horse manure, and donkey manure in this wine? Well, there's only one thing to do, and that's find out. Now, I can tell you that I am familiar with this wine. I have had the 2014 before, right when it came out, and I knew nothing about wine. I thought it was really good. I didn't remember any horse manure in it. I have had the 2015 vintage, which is absolutely stunningly fantastic because 15 was a very good vintage. The grapes fully ripened. Now, what you're going to get out of Pauillacs are, they're classic Bordeaux. Dark, brooding, tannic, need a lot of time in the bottle. This one's had 11 years. It's just entering into its drinking cycle. Now, what you're going to get from a classic Pauillac is you're going to get blackberry. But you're also going to get a lot of tobacco from pyrazine. You're going to get cedar. You're going to get some graphite. You're going to get some earth. And it's all going to be in balance. Now, a year or so ago, I had a bottle of the Chateau Pontet Canet. And I will tell you this. The first 2 glasses, it actually had some manure in it. Now, does it come from the terroir? Does it come from the cows? Does it come from the horses? I couldn't give you the tasting notes between horse manure, cow manure, and donkey manure, but it had a barnyard component to it. Now, after 2 glasses, it blew off. I didn't like that. I liked what happened afterwards. So with this wine, we're going to do something special, and this is why I'm going to give you a whole bottle review of this wine. What I'm going to do is I'm not just going to decant it. I'm going to decant it long enough. I'm going to taste it until the barnyard is gone. Then I'm going to beat it up. I'm going to splash the can. I'm going to move it around. I'm going to get the wine where I want it to. And then I'm going to go through the whole bottle. Not on camera. That would be 4 hours of you watching me drink wine. I'd be having more fun than you. But I will give you a whole bottle review, start to finish, of how this wine evolved. And if indeed there were any manure notes in there of whichever animal. So, enough talking. Let us open the Chateau Pontet Canet 2014 and see where it is right now. Now, what I'm going to do is, as we go through the opening process here, I am going to give you my initial impression on a taste. What I like to call taste and spit reviews. I'm not going to spit. I'm going to swallow this beautiful wine. But I'm going to give you my rating right there. But then I'm going to give you my prediction of how I think this wine will evolve in the glass. Then, after I've recovered from my hangover, I'm going to shoot another video and I'm going to tell you about the whole bottle. Because my issue with taste and spit reviews is that's all you get. You get a snapshot in the moment. You don't know where it's going to go. You don't know how the bottle's going to evolve. And a lot of times they can't be predictive. So, my review could be, hey, this is going to be a fantastic wine. And I'd be like, nah, that was full of barnyard manure. Or it could be, oh, geez, I don't know about that first sip. Let's kind of see what happens. And like, oh my God, it came to life and it turned out to be a beautiful wine. I've had that happen a lot. Now, obviously, professional wine reviewers can't do whole bottle reviews very often, or death is the result. But I can do one once a week. And so I am going to give you one of this beautiful bottle of Chateau Pontet Canet 2014. Now, the 2014 vintage was really sort of a nondescript one in Bordeaux. It was difficult. There was hail in Pauillac. Yields were reduced, but there was a warm harvest season that rescued the vintage. And so there should be bright, lively acidity in this, and we'll see how the fruit has come to life. Looks like we have a beautiful cork. As you can see, absolutely perfect. What I want to see from a Chateau Pontet Canet. We'll put it over here. Now, I am going to drink this in a wide bowl Bordeaux glass so that we'll have enough surface area to open up as I go through it. I'm going to serve the wine to myself at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I will let it warm up to 60, and I'm going to keep this bottle and a little special contraption I made up at the temperature as I go through it so I can give you a proper whole bottle review. All right, let's start off with the taste. See what the color looks like. All right, what we have here, classic, dark, inky Bordeaux. Gosh, to me, just looking at it, it looks alive in the glass. It looks vibrant. Let's see what the nose is like. Then let's see if we get any notes of manure. Oh, this was aged in 50% new oak, I believe. The 2015 vintage was the one where they started bringing in clay amphora to give it a softer, rounder texture and a little bit of minerality. The other thing you should know about this wine before I taste it is this only is 61% Cabernet Sauvignon. The rest is Merlot and Cab Franc with a little bit of Petit Verdot in it. So this actually has a lower percentage of Cabernet Sauvignon than most wines from Pauillac. Horses love it. Gosh, that nose is just beautiful. There is absolutely no manure on that nose in any way, shape, or form. The rumors are false. There was no manure in this beautiful Pauillac whatsoever. But God, there is everything you love in a Pauillac. There's sweet tobacco. There's perfectly luscious, ripe blackberries. There is a vibrant acidity to this. There's a medium body to this. There's graphite in there. And so I'm going to rate this wine a 96 point. My prediction is it could get to 97 or 98 as I go through the bottle. Because a lot of times when I have the first taste, I'm a little dubious off of it. Oh my God, this is an amazing first taste. And much better than the prior bottle that I drank. That other bottle was not up to snuff. This one right here is everything you want in the Chateau Pontet Canet 2014 or any vintage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decant this wine. I'm going to get it exactly where I want. I'm going to drink the whole bottle, and then when I'm recovered from my hangover, I am going to give you my proprietary whole bottle review. I invented these. I own the website wholebottlereviews.com, and we will see where does this wonderful Bordeaux that does not have any notes of horse manure, cow manure, donkey manure, or any manure at any time, where does it go? Where does it take me? Does this increase from a 96 point rating even higher? Stay tuned. I have returned, completely recovered from my hangover, and ready to give you my whole bottle review of the Chateau Pontet Canet 2014. Will it hold up to my initial score of 96 points? I'm going to tell you in just a second, but let me tell you about what happened as I went through the bottle. So, I actually took notes while I was drinking. Yes, I can drink and take notes. So, let me tell you about my impressions of the entire bottle of the Chateau Pontet Canet 2014. The first sip, as you saw in the first part of the video, I thought was absolutely fantastic. It promised a wonderful bottle of wine. It promised fruit. It promised tobacco. It promised a wonderful mouthfeel. And it promised a lot of fruit. It promised to be a magical bottle. So what happened? Where did it go? Well, a couple of things. The acidity, the tartness, was absolutely fantastic. It was there from start to finish. It really gave a great structure of the wine. It had firm but smooth tannins. It had a great mouthfeel. It had sweet but not dry tobacco. In the 2014 I had before, there was some dry tobacco in there. There was no dry tobacco in there. It was wonderful sweet tobacco, and I am very happy to report there's no cow manure, horse manure, sheep manure, or any manure at all in this wine. That was a plus. There was wonderful graphite. There was earth. It was all combined together. And, however, there were two things missing from this wine. The first one was this. The first sip and the last sip, they were kind of both the same. When I'm looking for a magical bottle of wine, I want the first sip and last sip to be vastly different, because that means that the wine has changed and evolved as I went through the bottle, and each sip just keeps getting better and better and better. With the Chateau Pontet Canet 2014, each sip was kind of the same. That wasn't a bad thing because the first sip was so good, but there really wasn't that much of an evolution as I went through the bottle. Okay, there was one other thing that really stood out to me. You may remember the old Wendy's commercial from the 1980s, "Where's the beef?" Well, what I kept thinking as I went through this bottle of wine was, where's the fruit? I'm an American. I like fruit in my wine. And the fruit was there, but it was behind everything else. It was lurking, but it never made its appearance. In the 2015 Chateau Pontet Canet, the fruit's there. It jumps out from you from the very beginning. It defines the wine. Everything else is behind it. Here, it never really made an appearance. And so for these 2 points, number one being that the bottle didn't really evolve like I liked it to, and the fact that I kept asking myself, where's the fruit? I am going to give this a final whole bottle review score of 94.5. It was better than a 94-point bottle. But 95 is where I like to define where bottles start getting magical, and it never quite crossed over to 95. So we're going to go with 94.5. So my recommendation, if you want to try the Chateau Pontet Canet, do the 2009 or 10, which you're going to pay for, but it's going to be worth it, or the 15 or 16. I've had the 15 for about $155. It is absolutely magnificent. So that's my recommendation for the Chateau Pontet Canet 2015. Now, this is a cautionary tale of why we love whole bottle reviews of what I call taste and spit reviews. Of course, you can't do a whole bottle review every day. Once a week is pretty much all you can do. But taste and spit reviews can fool you. You think the bottle is going to go one way, and then it doesn't. It can start off kind of like, I don't know, and then it can get amazing. or like with the Chateau Pontet Canet 2014, it can start good, it can stay good, but it can never go anywhere. So, if you like whole bottle reviews like I do, I want to hear from you. I want your recommendations in the comment section below. Give me your recommendations for these magical whole bottles of wine that you've had. Tell me whole bottles of wine you would like me to review. Be sure to like the video, comment the video, share the video, because what I want to do is I want to create a library of whole bottle reviews that we as wine lovers can come and look at to see, hey, another wine lover just like us, this was his or her experience with this review. So be sure to like, share, comment, be sure to subscribe, and let me hear from you. I want your recommendations in the comment section of your own whole bottle reviews. And if you're a Bordeaux lover like me, I shot another video for you all about Right Bank Bordeaux, in specific Saint-Emilion, one of my first love. So if you want to know more all about Saint-Emilion and the magic wines that are there and some of the wines that you can give a whole bottle review to, just click the video link right now and enjoy.